Hi boys and girls, and welcome to Bible Time with Mrs.Tschida. Today we are going to continuing reading through the big picture story Bible. And unfortunately, it's another sad day. So the last time we read, we were reading about King Solomon. And we weren't. We were reading about Elijah and how Elijah had battled with the prophets of Baal, and they had gone up the mountain and they had the big showdown on the mountain. And Elijah said, you call on your God and see if he'll answer you. And they tried and they cried and they called on the God's name, Baal, and nothing happened. And then Elijah built his altar to God and set the wood on it and told all the people to pour lots and lots of water on top of that sacrifice. And then after it was soaking wet and there was water all over the ground, he prayed, God, would you just show these people that you are who you say you are? And fire came down and scooped up all the sacrifice and lapped up all the water, and it proved that God was God. So powerful. But unfortunately, do you think the people followed God and did everything that he said and they obeyed him? No, they didn't. And so here's what happened, and that's where we're starting today. Are you ready? It's another sad day. God punished his people by sending a ruler from far away that would make war on them. Many of God's people were killed or taken away as prisoners. Here's our picture. See that? They came into the city. You see those big soldiers with their shields and their swords? I wonder what's going to happen. After that invasion, King Zedekiah, can you say that? Zedekiah, that is such a big word. He ruled over the rest of God's people. And he did really mean things, and he was pretty evil. And he didn't think that God would even punish him. He didn't think that God would even notice what he was doing. And look at how he treated. Someone would speak about God and he would say, he's not going to do anything to me. Wow. He's really rebellious and very wicked. He was an evil king. And this is what he thought. He thought to himself, well, didn't God promise us this land forever? And God sent the prophet Jeremiah to him to tell the king, no, he didn't. Can you say that? No. I bet sometimes we say that word a lot, don't we? Does mommy say that word a lot? No. I think sometimes mommies say that word a lot. And sometimes kids say that word a lot too. And Zedekiah refused to listen to Jeremiah. Oh my goodness, look at how he's treating Jeremiah. Jeremiah is telling him, no, you need to obey God. In order for all those promises to come true, you got to obey him. And then God punished his people again. And he sent another king to make war on them. And this king's name was, are you ready for this name? King Nebuchadnezzar. Oh my goodness. King Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar. That's 5 syllables. That's a lot. That's a big name. I wouldn't want to write that name out. King Nebuchadnezzar came all the way from the city Babylon. And he destroyed Jerusalem. It's a city God loves. He burned the temple that Solomon built all the way to the ground. And he took whatever people were left in the land as his slaves and prisoners. He took them away from their land. This was such a sad day. You can see he's burning all of the things that were in the temple that Solomon built. And there he is. He's taking all the people away. And his name was King Nebuchadnezzar. Oh my goodness sake. God's people had to leave God's place because they refused to have God for their king. Do you remember when we first started reading the Bible that God sent Adam and Eve away from the garden, the special garden that he had made for them? He did the same thing with his people now. He was doing it again. He was sending his people out of his place because of their sin, just like with Adam and Eve. And he used this army to do it. He used King, do you remember his name was? Nebuchadnezzar. Oh my goodness, it's such a big word. Well, it's kind of the ending that's kind of sad, isn't it? But we know God's promise is always remaining. He is faithful, and the people's sins caused God to react in this way. He had to punish them for their sins. But the story is not over yet. We know that God, he loves his people. He loves his place, and he wants his people in his place. So we'll just hang on till next week and read what happens next. All right. It's kind of a hard story to end, kind of a hard Bible time today, isn't it? It's hard to hear when people don't obey God and don't listen to him and don't even want him as their king. Well, you know that God loves you, and he is your friend, and he wants you to know all about him, and you can read all kinds of things about God. There's all kinds of different kinds of Bibles that you can read and discover more truth about what God has said, about who he is, about who you are. So I want you to remember how much God loves you. And what do we always say at the end? I've got my sign today. We want to be kind and brave. This is how God has taught us to live. It is the model that Jesus lives in our hearts. And so he's taught us that we always respond in kindness, and we can be brave because he was brave. Wow. That's what I want you to remember. So this week, you be kind and be brave, and show kindness to mommy and daddy. Show kindness to your teachers. Show kindness to your brothers and sisters. Show kindness to your friends, and be really brave. Maybe this week you can tell somebody about how much you love Jesus. Maybe this week you can invite one of your friends, to come with you to church if they haven't heard about Jesus before and God's love and how great God is. All right, boys and girls, I will see you next week, and we're going to find out what happens next. Oh my goodness. All righty, have a great week.